The Village of Glendale Heights is continuing to make every effort to support our residents and small businesses during this incredibly challenging time. We are providing up-to-date information on COVID-19 on the Village website at www.glendeleheights.org with links to information and other resources and working with other agencies to serve residents and businesses. To help with this effort, I have invited Ken Adel from Wintrust Bank to provide us with the information and answer some questions about the Federal CARES Act, particularly the Paycheck Protection Program for our small businesses. Congress has approved additional funding for this program. Ken is currently the Senior Vice President of Business Banking at Bloomingdale Bank and Trust, which is part of the Wintrust family of banks. Ken has been in commercial banking for over 22 years, the majority of which has been in DuPage County, and serves on the board of directors for the Glendale Heights Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Ken. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I guess my first question would be, what is the Paycheck Protection Program, otherwise known as the PPP Loan Program?
PPP Loan Program is a potentially forgivable loan which is provided by the government to help continue and maintain payrolls for companies during the shutdown / slowdown of business during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the main focus of it is to make sure that employees continue to get paid on a weekly, semi-monthly basis and continue their employment.
Okay, who is eligible for this?
Any company with 500 employees or less is eligible for this. It also includes 501c3 non-for-profits. Sole proprietors are also eligible, as well as independent contractors.
Okay, what does this program provide to a company who applies for a PPP loan?
What it provides for is it provides a loan to these companies for 2.5 times their monthly payroll. This payroll can include things such as wages, commissions, retirement benefits, medical costs, and state and local taxes. So that is how the amount of the loan is determined. You can throw all those various items into the loan amount, and then at that 2.5 times amount, you can use that loan that's provided to you from the government for payroll expenses for an 8-week period, a mortgage expenses, mortgage interest, rent, things such as that, as well as utilities. The final amount that is granted to any particular company has to be at least 75% used for payroll and no more than 25% for the other items that I mentioned, the mortgage, rent, expenses, interest, and utilities.
Thank you. Once somebody applies with the bank, what is the next step?
Well, the primary step would be to get in contact with your banker. I think there's a lot of, that would be the easiest thing to do. If not a banker, somebody in a bank branch that would know about the process, maybe the branch manager, to get started in terms of learning how to apply for it. The application is relatively simple. It's SBA Form 2483. It's a 2-page form that just asks for basic information, name, address, the company's tax ID number. There's some things that you'll have to acknowledge in terms of making sure there's not certain liens or whatnot on the company, making sure that all the employees have residences in the United States. And then that's where you'll indicate what your payroll amount is. You'll indicate what your monthly payroll is, what 2.5 times that would be, and how many employees you have. Once that is completed, that's the primary application for the PPP loan. In addition to that, you'll need to provide some supporting documentation to support the loan amount that you're asking for. The primary way to do this would be through federal 941 forms for 2019. There are also a number of different other things that you can provide, payroll evidence for the first couple months of the year, payroll for 2019 if you have a payroll provider. If you're going to be putting some healthcare benefits, retirement benefits in there, statements on your most recent medical bills that you've got that you've paid to Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare or whatnot, that would help support the loan amount as well. If you're a sole proprietor, your 2019 income tax return would be the primary justification of income. If you're an independent contractor, your 1099 forms for 2019 would also work as well. That is not by any means an exhaustive list of things that you would need, but these are just some things that can be used to provide justification for the loan amount that you're looking for. I would also have your articles of incorporation or articles of organization if relevant, because the bank will likely be asking for those as well.
Okay, once the Small Business Administration has approved this, how does the customer obtain their funds?
Customer obtains their funds after the SBA approves or reserves your fund. The bank will get a notification and an authorization number that your funds have been approved and reserved for you by the government. At that point, you will get be some loan documents prepared within the next few days for you to sign, which will provide the loan amount, terms of the loan, things such as that, and it will eventually get signed by you, most likely electronically, or signed by the borrower, most likely electronically, and then it will be funded into that person's bank account. Wintrust, we usually fund those within a 24-hour period.
How does the loan forgiveness work?
The loan forgiveness is, so once you get funded your loan, the day you get funded your loan, as I mentioned earlier, there's an 8-week period. So the day that you get the money in your account, that 8-week period begins. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a look back to see that over that 8-week period of time that you paid your employees, so you'll need to maintain evidence of that. Any of the other expenses, the retirement benefits, state and local taxes, medical benefits, those will all be monitored as well. And then any of the mortgage, rent expense, and utilities, you'll keep track of that as well. So that's over an 8-week period of time. And then after that happens, you'll justify that. We have not been given final guidance by the SBA on exactly how the forgiveness will be determined. Banks expect that right at the end of April, maybe, or very early part of May. So that is how the forgiveness will be justified. If a portion of the loan is not forgiven, let's say there wasn't enough payroll or there wasn't enough mortgage expense to justify the full forgiveness of the loan, then what happens is the loan gets put into an installment loan, which is a 6-month deferment period, and then there's an 18-month payback at 1% interest rate. So if most people are funded, in the next week or so, you'd anticipate right around the first of the year where that loan would then be put into an 18-month installment loan, amortized, at a 1% interest rate.
Thank you. Are there any other closing thoughts or information that we didn't cover, Ken?
The only thing a couple things I would mention is that the loan is unsecured. There are no personal guarantees involved with the loan. I know this probably wouldn't apply to most people, but there is a limit of $10 million on the amount of loan that could be granted to you. Obviously, you have to justify that with your payroll records. So those are just a couple of other minor things that I think that people should know about the program. The only other thing that I would mention to people that are listening and looking for relief on certain things is that if they do have any other SBA loans, specifically the 7A loan or a 504 loan, that there is a 6-month payment forgiveness on any of those loans by the SBA. So if they have any of those loans, it would be important to reach out to the SBA to find out what that forgiveness, how that forgiveness would work. But that is something that anybody involved with an SBA loan would definitely want to figure out if they might be able to obtain that, which in most circumstances they could.
Well, I just learned a lot, and I'm sure a lot of our businesses did also. Thank you, Ken. And I hope our businesses will have the opportunity to take advantage of this program. I want to thank everybody for watching, and for more information and links to the CARES Act and other COVID-19 related information, please visit www.glendaleheights.org/COVID-19. And thank you so much again, Ken. This was very helpful.
My pleasure, Mayor. Thank you.